Anyone who thought Ryan Villapoto just didn't have it this summer can now get on the bandwagon. After dominating 4 consecutive motos at Budds Creek and Red Bud, the defending champ has built himself a comfortable cushion over teammate Ben Townley. The Kiwi is overdue for another win, and Unadilla is the perfect place for him to get on track. For the rest of the top 5, it's now or never to catch the Kawasaki pair. Round 6 of the AMA Toyota Motocross Lights Championship from Unadilla is next. This round marks the halfway point of the motocross season. That means things are getting serious. This is the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship presented by FMF. It is the Monster Energy Unadilla National for Motocross Lights. Hello everyone, Lee Diffie along with Jeff Emig and Aaron Bates. And this does mean, Jeff, we are getting serious.
Well, halfway through, we have a great points battle going on between the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders here, the last year's champ, Ryan Villapoto, and the 101 of Ben Townley. It's getting serious.
It is, and Townley has some business to attend to. But first up, let's take you back to Red Bud in Michigan. These two were going hard at it.
We take a look here. Pro Circuit riders were side by side most of the day. Extremely challenging track up in Michigan. Ryan Villapoto, though, was on the gas.
Townley says that he knows every time he goes up against his teammate, he has to bring his A game. But maybe now it's A+, because Villapoto is bringing something extra special to the table this year. We take a look at the championship points coming into round 6. 20 the margin between Villapoto and Townley, and a great race for third at the moment, Jeff.
There definitely is. The top 5 riders there have been pretty consistent. Pro Circuit guys are the guys to beat, though.
Well, it's great to have Brock Hepler back, and here's Aaron Bates with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Well, a long, hard road to recovery indeed for Brock Hepler, but great to see him back here at the 6th round. If you recall, gave himself a concussion out at the test track in Corona, testing his brand new Yamaha. Ended up giving himself a concussion and out for 7 minutes. Brock, great to see you back here racing, competitive once again. Now, you had spent a long time off the bike. Is it true that the doctors advised you for every minute that you were unconscious to take a month off?
Yeah, that's an easy rule of thumb. Every concussion's different, so some people make a quicker recovery and some people longer than that. So we just had to listen to the doctors, and they had to monitor everything I did from, steady low heart rate for a while until I could increase that and get back to riding like I am now.
Now, do you feel that you're setting a great example for some younger kids coming up?
I'd hope so. I mean, I've always been pretty good. I've always let my injuries heal, and that way I can make a good comeback, and I hope to do that this weekend.
Well, there's no doubt that Team Yamaha and Brock Hepler and his family, everybody around him, are doing the right thing. And you can remember back, Brock Hepler had his very first win here in 2005, and I'm sure he's hoping to repeat that, being his first race on a Yamaha.
And guess who else is back? Ryan Dungey is here after that terrifying crash at Red Bud just 2 weeks ago. Here it is.
Take a look. This is off of one of the first jumps. He just got sideways, landed completely sideways, knocked out cold.
Great to have him back. Ryan Villapoto is the center of attention here at Unadilla, but it's brought to you by Suzuki, maker of performance-driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles. And by Progressive. Before the gremlins get you, get Progressive, #1 in motorcycle insurance. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Welcome back to Unadilla, folks, and before we get going, reminding you that the high-revving, tyre-shredding, wheel-standing two-wheeled action returns for an all-new season. Wednesday, it is Superbikes at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Speed. We're back and just moments away from Moto 1 for the Motocross Lights. Round 6 of the championship, and it is a fantastic battle that's looming amongst the Kawasaki teammates. But before we get to that, here's Aaron Bates with another pre-race report.
Over the last couple of years, the promoters here at Unadilla have made some substantial changes here to the track. This year, though, the major focus has been on the start. Take a look at what they've done behind me. Obviously, they've shortened the start compared to what it used to be to meet the AMA requirements, which is 100 meters. They've shortened it from 350 feet down to 275 feet, and at one point they had to bring in enough dirt to fill in the deepest section of 24 feet. Over 600 loads of gravel have been brought in by truck, but also a lot of this dirt has been pushed from the pits and other areas of the track to fill this section. Some other improvements that have been made around the track have made this track a little bit more technical to slow down the racing and a little less one line for all these guys. So we're in store for some great racing here today. As more rocks have been sifted here once again, expect great battle on our hands.
Well, I think what the AMA was trying to address there was the speed going into the first turn, and shortening up the start like that is definitely going to slow it down and make it a little safer for the riders.
And there's our format going into Moto 1, the same as usual. The rider with the highest overall point score will be the overall weekend winner. And 20 points between those two guys there, Villapoto and Townley. And many, the list is long, who would like to catch him. Now, here's how they qualified. Villapoto, the fastest.
Once again, he's on top, showing everybody that he wants to be the AMA Lights Motocross champion 2 years in a row.
So that's the rundown on our Suzuki starting grid for Moto 1. How will this play out? So much has been discussed, and Ricky Renner carries our Honda Performance First on-bike camera. We look forward to those views. But this is the pressure zone. Moto 1 here at Unadilla for the Motocross Lights class. And look at that hole shot from Dungey. He blasts out of the grid.
Ryan Dungey timed that gate absolutely perfect. That was zeros across the board for all the drag racing fans. Unbelievable jump right out of the gate. And here today at Unadilla, you can see the first moto of the lights. They put down a lot of water on the track. It's a little bit dry underneath, pretty wet on top, and a lot of roost comes off the bike. So you want to get out there, start the day right. You want to be the guy throwing the roost on the other riders, getting their goggles muddy.
Did you see that move that Josh Grant put on Ryan Villapoto there? Beautiful inside move. Now Villapoto comes back. It's Ryan Dungey. What a way to return to the championship. Then Townley, then Villapoto, and Josh Grant. Superstar.
Ryan Dungey has been just unbelievable this season, being a rookie and coming out. And he's just been so good, and now coming off of that concussion from Redbud. Extremely focused rider.
Pressure's on up front. Townley running with Dungey.
And you can see already in Moto 1 here how treacherous this track is, how the bikes are jumping around. You see it's a little dry through here. They're going to hit some of the wetter areas. Track's going to be extremely slippery in spots. See, the edges are a little bit drier. Right in the middle is where the water is right now.
Here comes Villapoto. He's been able to get away from Josh Grant, and he joins his Kawasaki teammate. He's down. Villapoto has dropped it on the opening lap.
Well, that was just like I was talking about, Lee. There's quite a bit of water down. Villapoto came in. Oh, you see him sliding out again. Really working hard. And that's what we've seen all season, all summer long, is that Ryan Villapoto has came out in Moto 1 with so much aggression, whereas the 101 of Ben Townley has been a little calmer and a little steadier as the day goes on.
Puts the move on Dungey around the outside. That was nicely done. Now they go down this steep drop off, and Dungey comes back.
Nice move by Ryan Dungey. And Townley gets by on the inside and then pushed a little wide, coming back up the U-turn, and that hill is so steep, it's like a drag race coming up out of there.
Jeff, you won here twice in the 250 class some years ago. You know this place well. It's been described as America's most European track. Does that mean we can expect Townley to do well as he takes the lead back again?
I think so. This legendary track at Unadilla, it's such a grueling course, and I liked it how this track goes back and forth, so you're always working inside out when you're trying to pass a rider.
Townley leads comfortably at the moment, and Villapoto is playing catch-up, and Dungey in a very strong second place. Now, if you want to take a look at how to get the whole shot, here is the Progressive Direct replay.
Watch when the gate drops. By the time he comes by, he is a bike length ahead of everybody else on the line. Unbelievable gate timing by Ryan Dungey. Crosses the line with the Progressive Direct hole shot.
And this is how Ben Townley, aboard his Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, got back into the top spot. That was the second change for the lead.
Just really got a great drive coming out of the second turn there, and it didn't look like that Dungey put up much of a fight. Today, the riders are going to need to have really strong legs, because here at Unadilla, the track gets so rough, they're going to be standing up quite a lot. As we see these riders dropping down into what's called gravity cavity, shift a couple gears, and then just come flying out as you see Ryan Villapoto just completely sideways.
He's chasing Josh Grant. There's a good scrap going on here. Josh Hill is in the mix. Villapoto, one side then the other. Gets Grant. Now Grant comes back. This is good lights racing.
And that is a tough spot to make a pass, especially early in the first moto here. Remember, I said the track's really slippery, a little bit hard on bottom, a lot of water down, so not all of the lines have formed yet. When you get out of that main line, there's going to be some wet areas. Not too much traction there, but as always, Ryan Villapoto comes out this first moto so aggressive and so determined. He just wants this championship so bad, and he wants to grab every available point that he can.
Good strong run from Brock Hepler too in his comeback ride aboard the Yamaha. So a nice start in Moto 1 for him, but look at the determination on Villapoto.
One thing that I always loved about this track is that you can just let it hang out. I'm talking Bob Hanna style, feet off the pegs, wide open.
And that's exactly what Villapoto's doing, but they're all chasing Ben Townley. More from Unadilla when we come back.
Is your life lacking a little excitement?
Good.
No, it's a left side radiator that got some of the coolant coming out. Could only speculate that that fall on the first lap, when he fell on the left side when he spun out, that he might have caught the radiator shroud, ripped the radiator apart just a little bit. As tough as they make them, they're still pretty fragile when it comes to keeping the coolant in.
Townley continues to lead, but let's join Erin and find out what happened with Villapoto.
Frustration taking praise for Ryan Villapoto. Ryan off the track, obviously a radiator problem. What went on out there?
I don't know. You know, before I even fell, I looked down and it had a hole in it. And it was, I guess it was like blowing antifreeze all over, and I was seeing it smoking. And then I fell, and then you know, then I could pull in and check it out. But you know, who knows?
Points leader out of commission for this moto. We'll see him back for the second moto.
Well, Lee, my second guess was going to be that one of those big New York rocks hit the radiator, and, you know, I had two ways to go on that. So, unfortunate turn of events for Ryan Villapoto, and, man, that is really going to affect the points chase here, especially if Ben Townley ends up getting 25 points in this first moto.
Well, it's playing into the New Zealander's hands perfectly. He has not won since Moto 2 at Southwick. Great battle going on here. Grant right in the mix. Josh Hill right there as they style it beautifully. Hill playing catch-up in the points as well. He's currently 7th, heading into this 6th round of the championship.
And Josh Hill has been just outside of the top 5 most of the year.
Yes, he's had several 6th places, but this is terrific. This is inside the top 5. This is for bigger points.
Well, and it's good to see Josh Hill here finally this season coming into his own, really starting to get dialed in with the bike, dialed in with the team, and putting in a strong ride. He's got a couple of veterans in the lights class breathing down his neck right now.
There goes Jason Lawrence on board the Works Yamaha.
And
nice one.
Lawrence just capitalizing on a mistake by Josh Grant there at the bottom of that U-turn. It's super steep going down, and that means it's super steep coming back up. And you have to time that corner perfectly and hit every line just right to get the proper drive. Lawrence did, Grant didn't. That's how he made the pass. Lawrence could move into 3rd place in the championship here today if he keeps this progress going. Meanwhile, back at the front, things are looking great for Ben Townley. And you see Townley is just textbook style right now in technique, on the pegs quite a lot, standing up, picking his lines. He seems very smooth at this point and extremely confident. He must really be enjoying himself out there today. And I'm sure that he got a signal from one of the Pro Circuit guys that his teammate and the points leader, Ryan Villapoto, is out. Here's Ryan Dungey currently in 2nd. And Brock Hepler on board the Yamaha sits in 3rd. That is a really great way to come back. There is no doubt about that for both these riders coming off of the injuries, and for Dungey to come back after such a horrendous crash at Redbud, get his focus back, get to start here. This kid is a pretty incredible rider, and I'm sure in another decade we're going to be talking about him a lot like you would any of the greatest motocross champions.
Not only did Dungey have to deal with the frustration of falling and then not riding at Red Bud, but then he was also dropped from 3rd in the championship back to 5th. Had to swallow that as Hill and Lawrence go at it now, the 2 Yamaha riders.
Huge tabletop here in the middle of the track at Unadilla. You see Lawrence making the pass on Hill, but the great thing about Unadilla is the lines go everywhere. There's inside, outside. You can go just about anywhere, and you need it sometimes when you're passing these lap riders here early in the first moto.
You may have noticed in that previous camera shot, there are some dark, angry clouds hanging around at the moment.
Well, definitely there's some serious rain could come down here. But as for now, the track in Unadilla is primo. We got some great lights motocross racing going on.
And it's all going Ben Townley's way. We'll see if it stays that way when we come back. Championships continue, and Moto 1 of the lights class. If you have just joined us, the story of the day thus far, championship leader Ryan Villapoto out with a busted radiator. He had fallen early in this moto, but regrouped and he was very much in the mix. But now he will have a DNF next to his name for the first time in 2007, and it's really put some strength to the Townley campaign.
And Ryan Dungey, hole-shotted, great start out of the gate, took the progressive hole shot. But Ben Townley's the story. He is just making it look easy at this point. Dungey also having a fantastic ride here in the first moto.
Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha. That's how it sits in the top 3 with Brock Kepler in 3rd at the moment, and comfortable margins between the top 3 at the moment. So no real challenges for the top 3 positions late in Moto 1 here at Unadilla.
I like how the track's starting to work in. A lot of those wet spots from earlier in the moto have started to disappear. A lot of good traction, but you can see all the rocks in the track here. That's a step-up area. Always like this turn here as you drop down. You bank off this wall. The track is so much fun to ride here too. And I say ride, it's not fun to race behind somebody because of the amount of rocks.
You just get blasted.
Yeah, you just get blasted. But when you're dialed in here and when the bike's good, your fitness is good, it seems like you just float like a butterfly over all these bumps and holes. It's no big deal. A couple years that I won here, I had a lot of fun. But when you're not dialed in, this track is gruesome.
Tim McAdams keeps a watchful eye on his man, Ryan Dungey, as Ben Townley gets the white flag. He is on his way home, 1.7 miles around this Unadilla circuit, and he will have some relief, no doubt about that, notching up his first win in 3 rounds.
Well, what's great about this moto, if I'm Ben Townley, is that even though my teammate was out, I still think that I came into this race with the attitude that I can win, that I can beat my teammate. And I've had a pretty easy moto from the looks of it. Looks like he's ridden really smooth, hasn't exerted any energy. And so for that second moto, he's really going to have the flow of the track, which I think will be an advantage over his teammate and the other riders, and have all that confidence going into the second moto, try to win the overall here today.
Ben has never won the opening moto of a weekend in this 2007 season. It's always been his strength in the second moto.
Well, that definitely has been the story, is that Villapoto would come out just like he did this moto with all this aggression and just determination and just twisting the grip off the throttle. Second moto, Ben Townley would come in after taking the first moto, riding a little smarter, maybe not using quite so much energy, come into the second moto a little more refreshed. But like we've seen the last couple of weeks, Villapoto wanted both of those wins. That's how come he had 4 moto wins in a row.
Spoke to Ben at the airport after Red Bud, and he said he still had no more of an idea of what happened to him at Red Bud with that mystery illness, and he still doesn't to this day. But he's pleased that it went away and he was able to ride at Red Bud, and now he will boast a 5-point advantage over Ryan Villapoto.
And you can see right now as Ben Townley's riding the last lap of the first moto here that he's just making it look easy. At this point, he's just riding around, probably riding at about 50% right now, having a little fun, hopping over the top of that hill. this is a great feeling that you were that good in the first moto that you can just cruise around the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Let's look after the bike, let's look after the body, conserve a little energy and save something for Moto 2 in case he is pushed all the way to the checkered flag. Final stages of Moto 1, and it's a green affair. Checkered flag is out. Well done, Ben Townley, on board the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki as the wind really whips up at the end of this opening moto. Ryan Dungey comes back emphatically.
Well done, Ryan Dungey. That was a great return after a tough crash at Redbud.
And look at that, 60. Brock Hepler will be on the podium for Moto 1. Now, do you live and breathe motorcycle racing? If you're watching this, there's a good chance. Now you can get the latest results and news right on your phone with weekly green alerts from Speed. Text KX to 773333 on your mobile and receive free motorcycle racing text alerts. We're back at Unadilla. It is time to hear from our top three. Here's Aaron Bates.
A hard charge by Ben Townley. Your current points leader, Ben. A little bit of pressure off your shoulders. So far, you're the points leader. What's going through your head right now after a charge like that?
Yeah, it was a good race. I got a good start behind Ryan there, and just sort of got into the lead and rode my race. I don't know what happened to Ryan. It's a shame that he wasn't up there. We've been having some good races, and I was looking forward to racing him. But I'll take that one. You take it any way you can get it at the moment. So I'm pretty happy with that. Pro Circuit Monster Energy Kawasaki was good, and just got to say thanks to everyone on the team. They're doing a great job.
Let's take a look at the Toyota Moto 1 results and some personal bests in there, including Josh Hill, his first top 5 of the year. That's great.
Yeah, great ride for Josh Hill. Definitely getting stronger and getting more comfortable as the season goes on.
After a weekend off of recuperation after a concussion, Ryan gave it a hard charge out there. You feeling back to 100%?
Yeah, definitely. I got on the bike this week. Got a whole week of riding in before this. I feel 100%. So just got a good line choices next moto, and looking forward to it.
Are you an AMA member? If not, why not? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit amadirectlink.com. AMA rights, riding and racing. Now here's Brock Hepler.
Brock Hepler back for action. Brock, great to see you back. Were you impressed with your ride thus far?
Oh, for sure. The Yamaha's working great. We got a pretty good start. Just working hard. I want to thank Shift and Red Bull. Everyone's doing a great job.
Would you say that you exceeded your expectations the first moto out?
For sure, the first moto. It's really rough out there. It got rough, so I exceeded my expectations. So hopefully we can match that the second time out.
3 delighted young men, but this man here, the current number 1, will not be pleased with a DNF next to his name.
Definitely not. I've been in that situation before where you're the points leader and you have a DNF with the bike. All you can do is put your head down and keep positive.
This will be my second full season. It's going good. Won a title the very first year outdoors, and then on the second year won a title in Supercross, and now trying to defend my title this outdoor season. I wouldn't say we had problems with him in Supercross, but he's just always, once I was out there, he's kind of just stuck to me like glue. I kind of got tired of it at Hangtown and talked to AMA about it, and they kind of said whatever, and it happened all again in second practice, and the stick just broke, and just had a little run-in with them, but I think it's all over. The internet blows everything up way bigger than it is, so it wasn't really a big deal once it was over. The big guy's my pit bull. The other one's a French bulldog. He's like 2 months old or something. They just run around and sleep.
What's it like to have a brother who's a motocross star?
When I look at it, I'm just like, oh, it's not that great.
Beginning of Supercross, I decided if I won, I would buy a gun, just a kind of reward for every first place I got. This year for Supercross, I got this Kimber 22, this 223 Weatherby, and this 6-shooter Ruger 22. Got this after, I think, one of the very first races I won of the season. Not 21, so I can't buy a handgun, so my uncle's got to do that for me. I think one of my favorite guns is probably this 300 short mag. Get a good deer rifle, and then I'm going to take it to Africa when I go. That'll be fun, I'll be able to get out there and really be able to shoot some stuff. Wanting to start winning, some outdoors so I can start making my collection bigger. My cousin got me into bows actually, well, you know, from Alaska or whatever, so he's more of the hunting deal. I got to shooting his and I like went out and bought one like 3 days later. They're fun to shoot, they're really quiet, you can do it anywhere. The orange tip, just something I can shoot my brother with when he gets out of control. So, and it won't hurt him too bad, just leave a gnarly welt. Before I'm even done racing, I want to start a fishing lodge up in Alaska. Me and my cousin are going to do that, I think. And I went up after donations last year and caught some fish, went hunting, and I had a blast. It's probably one of the nicest places to hang out. I thought it was awesome. So that's one thing I want to do for sure.
An interesting young man who does more, obviously, than ride a motorcycle very, very well.
Well, these guys need to have those outlets like that because while the racing season's going on, they are totally focused on being champions.
Moto 2 up next.
You know when you want
Championship for the lights class, Moto 2 coming up. But first, here's Erin with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
It's been since Orlando Supercross since we've seen the number 55 of Ryan Sipes race. And Ryan, you're back for action. We just witnessed you take a 14th place in your first moto. What do you have for your expectations coming back after your injury?
I was just hoping. My goal was to be in the top 10, but I fought hard for the 14th. I was strong the whole moto and had some good battles, had a lot of fun, so I'm happy. I'm going to look to try to get a better start this time.
How do you regain your speed when you've been out of competition that long?
Come back and race. Yeah, that's about the only way you can do it. Riding at home just doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, heard it straight from his mouth. Got to be out here with your competitors if you want to keep your endurance and speed.
Well, that is the best way to get back into shape. Like Ryan said, as we go on board here with Ricky Renner, just outside of the middle of the start. New start here at Unadilla, all flat and a little bit shorter. It's supposed to be a little bit safer going into the first turn.
An enormous amount of earth moving as we get set for Moto 2. Gates drop, here we go. Oh, 2 bikes down, 2 riders down, mid-pack. But it's one of the Kawasaki boys. Is it Ryan Villapoto? Yes, it is. And that looks like Brock Hepler.
Hepler and Derek Stella holding his arm. That doesn't look good. Hepler, though, what a heartbreak to go down after that great first moto and his first moto back, their first moto this season, first moto on a Yamaha. It's going to be a tough one to take as we're on board with Ricky Renner, and you can see how much roost comes up here at Unadilla. What you can't see, what you can't feel, is all these New York rocks hitting you in the chest, hitting you in the arms. Most riders end up pretty bruised up after this race.
Race leader is Ryan Villapoto on the comeback trail after a DNF in the opening moto. And I feel a little for Brock Hepler. It's a bittersweet weekend, isn't it? He's been riding hard for the last 6 weeks to get ready for this event. A podium in the first, and now he is right at the back of this pack. Dungey strong again in Moto 2.
And so is Josh Hill in third place. Good start for him. Both these young riders going at it. Basically their first years, but both these riders in their opening motocross races last year, they kind of had a couple races to get the feel of things. Both these riders impressed everyone by having top 3 finishes.
Hill, look at how hard Hill is working, trying to find a way by on Ryan Dungey, and Dungey's not having anything of it. Progressive Direct pole shot.
And take a look here on the very outside to the right. This rider gets a bad jump. He just cuts across. But no problem for Ryan Villapoto. He is all alone in the first turn. As you see Hepler and Stella connecting with each other.
That was a messy situation. It was nice and clean up front if you were Ryan Villapoto, and he still is up front. Leads comfortably, but look at how tight it is for second. Dungey and Hill still going hard at it, but the question is, where is Ben Townley?
Townley is definitely out of the top 3 here after our first moto winner. Oh, and you see Hill making that mistake, coming up the U-turn. If you mistime that turn at the bottom, if you hit a rock, get a bad line, you lose all of your drive. And you can see he lost 5 to 10 bike lengths.
Jason Lawrence, hot in pursuit for a top 3 spot. Finished just off the podium in the first moto. And the Boost Mobile Yamaha rider doing very well this weekend at Unadilla.
Steve Boniface with a great start here in the second moto. Martin Davalos. These guys are going to be battling all moto long. second moto at Unadilla, one of the toughest motos of the season. Track is so rough. Actually, track's got a little bit of, it's a little harder this year, not as soft as it has been in the past years. So a lot of square edge bumps. And right now, these riders are trying to find smooth lines, but there is none to be had in the second moto here.
There were some pretty angry-looking clouds above during Moto 1. They have stayed away for the time being. Look at this, good inside move here. Grant, forceful on Lawrence, but then it didn't pay off.
Well, both of those riders, two of the more aggressive passing riders in the class. Grant makes a nice move up the inside, and he just had that sixth sense that the 338 of Lawrence was going to come back across and give him a lot of room. Nice to see these riders keeping it clean and racing hard, because they need to be racing forward towards Davalos and Boniface.
And look at the back of that shot there, Jeff. Here comes Ben Townley, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. He's currently 8th.
Josh Grant on the Honda, the red bike, and you can see just sneaking over the jump just out of our screen. Moto number 1 winner, Ben Townley, recovering from a bit of a bad start here. Our camera just does not do it justice how steep it is. You make the left, you come right back up, drag race, get over that little tabletop, and look at Townley, just timed it perfectly as he goes by Josh Grant.
Great move, Ben Townley. Picks one off, so now he moves up to 7th, and Jason Lawrence is the next one on his list.
And one thing about Ben Townley, when you watch him ride, today he looks so smooth, and he just is so precise. He looks like he's doing this with ease.
Gets another one from 8th to 6th in a quarter of a lap. Townley is on a mission, but he's got a long way to catch his Kawasaki teammate. We'll see if he can. The AMA Toyota Motocross Lights Championship continues. Lee Diffie along with Jeff Emig and Aaron Bates. And we are looking at Ryan Villapoto, who lost the championship lead after Moto 1. He DNF'd, if you weren't with us then. A hold radiator, and that bike was done for the opening moto. But look at that lead margin, Jeff. He is doing it comfortably here in New York.
Well, he's definitely out to prove a point, and having that DNF the first moto is just so heartbreaking when you've built up almost a whole moto's worth of points lead. That's a tough one to take, and there's no better way to get that points lead back than to go win the moto.
Impressive ride from Steve Boniface in Moto 2.
And he's had a couple of the hot riders on the circuit right on him. He's holding them off. It looks like Lawrence has got to drive on the outside.
And while we're away, Ben Townley did get by Steve Boniface, so Townley is now up to 4th as these guys scrap it out, as Lawrence got the drive up the hill.
He's trying. I think he's got the line here. Takes the position from Boniface, and he set that up at the bottom of the U-turn and set up that whole line sequence. We'll see if Josh Grant, sitting back here, can maybe remember that, and if he doesn't get by Boniface here in that, before they get to that section, can use that just like Jason Lawrence did.
We said earlier, Jeff, you won here twice. You know how to succeed and grab a victory at Unadilla. What's the most challenging aspect to this upstate New York track?
Well, it looks like today that the base of the track is a little bit hard. So if you're going to take an inside line, as you see Grant get by Boniface, didn't have to wait for the lap. Nice move. The thing is that it's really hard on the bottom, so there's not a lot of traction unless you find a small groove out of the inside of the turn, or you go outside and you find one of those cushions like Grant did. See right here, he gets locked into a rut. This is one of the newer sections. They added in a little bit of jumps here to Unadilla to freshen up the track some. Okay, now watch here as Hepler goes outside, and he planned on cutting back inside. Kelly Smith held the line tight, so Hepler just stayed on the gas, kept his momentum up around the outside, picks off another rider.
The top 15 would be a great result for Hepler, considering he let the entire field go. Had to pick his bike up, pick himself up, and get back at it.
And the thing to remember is that he's probably, the bike might be a little bit bent up from that crash off the start. Makes no difference.
join the battle for third. Ben Townley, who first rode here at Unadilla back in 2002 aboard a KTM. And now puts the pressure on Josh Hill.
This is one of those sections where there's kind of an inside-out flow that if you're on the left one side, you go through the next turn, you can get back to the right. And it is a drag race heading into the step-ups.
He's the new championship leader for the lights class. He has not won an overall in the past 3 rounds and nails that move on Hill. How about that? Townley is in superb form this weekend. And with Villopoto DNFing the first moto, Townley could very well take the overall again this weekend. He is in the top 3.
Just like he did in the first moto when he was victorious, the second moto, Ben Townley has got great line choice, and he is doing it with ease. He knows that he doesn't have to win the moto to win the overall. Villopoto had a DNF the first moto. He doesn't want to give up the championship points, but he also knows that he wants to get the maximum amount of points today, and he will walk away as the points leader.
This championship struggle between the teammates is the story of 2007 in the AMA Toyota Motocross Lights Championship. Can Villopoto get the win? We'll find out when we come back. That's hard. He was having a brilliant race.
Looks like he fell down and is having a little bit of trouble getting the bike started. Yamaha had such a great first moto with Brock Hepler and Josh Hill, and now both these riders have had trouble in the second moto. So much work goes into that. A tough break for factory Yamaha.
Well, if Townley remains where he is in third place behind Ryan Dungey, Villopoto takes the win. Jeff, they will leave here on their way to the next round, tied on points.
Unbelievable tug of war in this points race between the two Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders that really have been the cream of the crop this year, winning all of the motos. But Ben Townley putting in a great ride here in the second moto at Unadilla. You see him starting to reel in Ryan Dungey. Townley's fitness seems to be in peak form at this point, and he's having to overcome having a bad start here at the second moto, but he's definitely making the most of it. So right now he needs to get up into that second position to leave here with a 2-point advantage in the championship.
A lot on the line for Kawasaki as well. They could bring up their 10th win in the lights division here at Unadilla if things stay as is.
And one thing to remember is that Ryan Villopoto is not that far out in front right now. A small mistake by him could tighten this thing up and change the whole complexity of the day.
A 2-2 result for Ryan Dungey will do wonders for his championship aspirations as well in position. He's playing the comeback game, remember, after Red Bud. Final lap for Villopoto as he styles it up.
Such a great shot here. Ryan Villopoto just dominating the second moto from start to finish. Doing what he has to do. He cannot control what happens with the bike in that situation where the radiator got damaged. For some reason, it started losing coolant. But what he can control is this next moto, and he's done that by going out leading the whole moto. Looks like he's on his way to another moto win.
Check this out. Final lap. Townley trying to bridge that gap to Ryan Dungey. This battle for second is heating up on the way to the checkered flag.
And Ben Townley knows how important these extra 2 points here, separation between third and second in the moto, that at the end of the season, when we get to Glen Helen, the championship could be decided by just a few points right now. It's so important to get these last 2 points here today.
Townley really putting the pressure on. Listen to the crowd here at Unadilla in upstate New York. They are loving the closing stages of Moto 2 in the lights class. Can Dungey hang on?
And what can you say about Ryan Dungey, battling the former world champion here all the way to the end of this second moto? Really having a great ride today, steady as she goes, but right now these guys are battling for that second place position here in Moto 2.
And as he said to Aaron after the opening moto, he was pleased with his run. Meanwhile, Villopoto is thrilled to be back where he knows he belongs, in that #1 position. He won here at Unadilla last year. It's not going to be the case so long as Townley remains where he is right now. Townley will get the overall, but he's trying at the moment to get second away from Ryan Dungey.
And Townley's using every line possible. Not too much time left here in this moto.
Nothing between these two guys. Townley slipped slightly.
Tried to make the pass where he did on the first lap of the first moto. Dungey learned from him, kept a little more momentum. It's a drag race. 2 turns left.
Both the Suzuki and the Kawasaki just laboring up the hill as Villopoto takes the win in Moto 2. It won't be enough to take the overall with that DNF in 1, and Dungey hangs on.
What a great battle between all 3 of these riders. Dungey has to be so pleased with his ride today.
Well, a 2-2 result for Ryan Dungey. He will be delighted with that. We'll hear from the boys when we come back.
Do you ever...
Main vehicles. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Now, if you've missed any of the AMA racing action and you want to relive the excitement, watch all the 07 AMA Supercross and Superbike events on Speed On Demand online. And it's all free, courtesy of Yamaha. Log on now to speedtv.com, and Yamaha is the key word. Ryan Villopoto reliving that excellent victory in Moto 2. And his teammate Ben Townley will be pleased as well. Solid effort from the 101. As we take a look now at the Toyota Moto 2 results.
Once again, Ryan Villopoto up on top. Another good ride by Boniface, McFarlane, Gerke. Even Robbie Marshall out of the Boston area is 17th in that moto.
Here's Aaron with Jason Lawrence.
Jason Lawrence taking no time off on our weekend off after Redbud. Jason, what was it that you worked on so hard to get yourself to be where you're at today?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I actually feel like I'm a little bit behind where I was in the beginning of the year, which is, I mean, it's a little discouraging just to see those guys all pull away from me like that. I don't have the bad start excuse anymore, so I just need to work on my speed. Just need to thank all my sponsors, Boost Mobile, Yamaha, Troy, Monster Energy, keeping me going.
Wow, some brutal honesty there from Jason Lawrence. So some hard work to come. The Toyota overall results for the weekend. Townley the man over Dungey and Lawrence.
Ryan Dungey knew that he had some company hot on his butt out there. Ryan, you gave it everything you had out there. Did you think that you had the overall victory?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was really pumped. I thought I had it, but you know, it's different than amateur stuff and all that kinds of goodies. But you know, I'm just pumped to be up here on the podium and sitting second overall, my first one of the year. And I just can't thank Team Akita Suzuki enough.
Well, I did the same thing, Ryan Dungey. I thought I won with the 2-2 in 91, but it wasn't the case.
And look at that. We couldn't ask for the points to be any better. Now let's hear from our winner.
A battle like no other all the way down to the finish line. Ben, did you know in your heart if you kept that third place position that you would have taken that overall today?
You know, I knew that I could have won the overall, but I was looking for the points for the championship. You know, that's what it's all about right now. And just bummed, man. I went down on that first lap. I hit Boniface in the back. He stopped in a turn and couldn't do anything about it. I fell over and just had to make my way back through from there. And it was a pretty decent ride.
What a great comeback ride from Townley. Thoughts on the motocross lights from Unadilla, Jeff?
Well, I think it's great that this points race is really starting to heat up. And once again, the Pro Circuit boys are going at it.
Next up, it is Thunder Valley, round 7 of this 12-round championship. And the teammates are locked at the top of the championship. It is thrilling stuff in the AMA Toyota Motocross Lights Championship. Don't miss a moment. Stay tuned here on Speed and SpeedTV.com. On behalf of Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Lee Diffie. We'll see you next time.